Look,
Okay.
It's us.
It's
Hi.
us.
Hi.
Guess what? We changed our mind. We're in a different link. So we're actually going to kind of like wait for people to catch up with us just a little bit here.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we're reverbing too.
All right.
I know. I fixed it. I fixed that
At least
part.
my
I
announcements
certainly feel like
have
I'm
shown.
reverbing.
I'm still kind of reverby.
A little bit.
I'm
Yeah.
really reverby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. Okay.
Yes,
so
Carlton, you're in the right spot. This
You
is the
are.
right one.
we
So Carlton, evidently, my son made Jonna a moderator of the chat a while back when we did a live stream. And I'm not sure why, but he also made Carlton McKenney a moderator of the chat. So Carlton, you have the power. If there's a troll,
wait.
it's your job.
This is the guy who at Fantasy insisted on giving Ian a multi-tool.
Which is, I mean, the icon is a little wrench. So yes.
Okay.
Don't let it go to your head.
So here's the thing you haven't seen in a while. All three of us in the same spot
In the same room. Oh,
at the same
at
time.
the same time.
Giving each other heck.
Mhm.
Oh my god, I haven't seen your cup and badge yet, Ben. I'm looking for it. But I've been sort of face down in work because I got back from Italy to abject poverty. So
Yeah.
So
Which is a thing we're gonna have to talk about. Probably not here, but yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, well, not the poverty part. Italy was good. So
Italy was excellent on here.
The
Yeah.
pictures were gorgeous.
Italy was interesting in a number of ways.
Hmm.
Here, I'll tell you about Italy.
Yes. Talk about
So,
it.
Let's talk about it.
okay, and they all settle back.
It's story time.
It's story time. I'm
Get a
so excited.
Hello. So the first time I went to Italy was 15 years ago, and I went specifically to go to a costume conference in Florence, Italy, to see the red dress. Which, if you're on my Facebook, you saw I posted. Oh, hello, old friend, red
Right.
dress, and that was my very first debut in the costume world as a real girl. Because I was the costume designer for Eugene Opera. I was like a real person as opposed to one of those reenactors who was sneaking in under the wire
Right.
at this conference with all of these amazing costume and clothing historians from the Victorian Albert Museum and all these places that I've been reading all their stuff for years and years and years. I was a real girl.
Yes.
And I got to see this dress, which is a story in and of itself that I should probably tell at a different time. Find me at a convention, it makes me cry every time. But this dress was a new find, and it was interesting. It was the very beginning of me just launching into the stratosphere as a costume designer in Eugene. So it was very interesting for me in a very bookendish kind of way to go back and see the red dress again in the museum, because when I saw the dress, she was in a lab. She was just on a sheet on a dress form, and I could get this close to her.
Yeah.
You know, I have over 2,000 pictures of this dress. I documented every inch of the dress, and it was a very bittersweet kind of interesting moment because it was like it was a beginning and an end of that particular frame of my life.
Yeah.
You know, 15 years later, I've been to Italy 6 times now. I've been able to wander through all of and look at, do really amazing things because of what I learned about myself as an artist the first time I was in Florence.
Right.
So it was like, wow, you know, it's not often you get bookend moments in your life where you have something that defines the beginning of something and something that defines the end of it.
Yeah.
So that's very much what the whole red dress, hello old friend was for me, which was kind of fun. It's like, we're getting an echo. Why are we getting an echo? Just sound off on her computer. So anyway, it was just, we probably don't want to turn it off, but
I'm not going to.
I'm just kind of echoey anyway. So
I'm not touching anything. The number of things I've messed up today by touching them is lots.
I moved the microphone, and she says it's better after that. So
okay,
we're good.
that works.
We're good.
Okay.
So that was kind of cool, that part of Italy, because it was very much a full circle moment. And then the other part that was really fascinating to me is, you know how we've talked a lot about North Texas Troublemakers and community,
Yes.
and how important that is, and how finding your group of people that you can be silly and strange with, and create these creative centers that you all, and while I was in Italy, people started spontaneously wanting to make their own little North Texas groups. It was like, yay, go! Well, I was in Sienna, and Sienna was formed. It was a city built in a very specific way. It's a fascinating city that is divided. It's divided into 17 neighborhoods or contradas, and each neighborhood has their heraldic beast, be a snail or a unicorn or a jaguar or a dragon or a wave, which was a dolphin, and each neighborhood is imbued with certain characteristics. Like this.
Right.
These are the people who are good at business, and these are the people who are good at being kind and compassionate. So everybody, when they're born inside the wall of Sienna, knows who they are. They have their identity because they are of that neighborhood, and they are fiercely proud of their neighborhoods. And we happened to be there at a time when they were doing their Labor Day celebrations over May 1, and happened to see the parades of all of the neighborhoods. Oh. And they don't do it for the people who are coming there.
No.
They do it out of a sense of pride of who they are and what they represent in the city. And so they're born into a sense of identity, which I find that a lot of us aren't. We aren't born into a sense of identity and that strong. I mean, this is like Hogwarts from the 12th century. Really, I mean, that idea. And it's on their Labor Day weekend, they all march into the big square, the Campo, some of which I posted on my thing, and then they go visiting various neighborhoods. There's ally neighborhoods who are friends together, and then there's ones that then we don't talk to them, and they have these giant dinners in the middle of the street where they put out huge tables.
Oh wow!
And you may wander through as a tourist, but it is very clear that you are not part of the tribe.
Yeah,
it's not for any of the people who showed up. And I thought, what an interesting thing to always have a sense of knowing who you are from birth.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us don't have that.
Yeah.
But we seek to create it.
Right.
Which is, what are we doing?
Right.
Yeah.
We're creating this sense of community, of identity and connection. And I asked our host that we stayed in his parents' place, and there were elephants everywhere, but we were a unicorn. We were in the unicorn neighborhood, and I went, he says, "Oh, mom was an elephant." But she married a unicorn. I said, "Was there a problem with that?" "Oh, no, we're allies. But if she'd married an eagle," it's like, yeah.
This is where Romeo and Juliet came from.
800 years of warring families.
800 years of warring families, but they also have this very clear. If they have their horse race, the Palio horse race, which is world famous apparently. And whoever wins gets to, and so I went and looked it up, and there's one group that hasn't won for like 30 years. And weirdly enough, the one that's won the most is the snail neighborhood.
Known for speed.
But there's also the dragon neighborhood apparently is so full of narcissism that every weekend the entire neighborhood's out with their drummers marching all over the city and singing. And we were like, what's going on with them? And they're like, oh, God, they do that all the time because so attention-seeking people. So I was fascinated to see essentially our tribalism writ large, and but what a sense of belonging and just roots that these people have in their spaces. So it's really cool. Yeah, not racing snails, they're racing horses. The Palio horse race is crazy. So yeah.
As someone who grew up reading Dick Francis, I know of it.
Yes. Yes. So yeah. So it's just it's not so much it's reinforced identity culture, you're right, Rick, but it's also a way to deal with, to take the energy that might have devolved into warring factions and turn it like we do with football teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a lot of it gets channeled into sports.
Yes, and I will tell you, they have a drummer group, and the drummer group is all the scions of all the big families. They are the really hot teenage boys. And that's why hot teenage boys in tights. I had such a great day. But and wow, the clothing is fabulous. But I mean, the girls are all like, ooh, look who's they're all like, and the girls are involved as well.
Right.
But it's very much the quarterback's the football team. I mean, the geeks and stuff are like, but at the end of the day, when they march around all the neighborhoods, they're drumming, and their hands are bloody from drumming all day long. It is an endurance thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that was interesting to me, and I was thinking a lot about how we as a group have worked so hard to develop community and
Mhm.
fun
Yes.
and having a good time.
Yeah.
So
And you know they're good with their hands by the end of that. So I can see why the cheerleaders would be going for it.
yeah, right? You know?
Right.
But you know, and I can see I can see the restrictions around you are this, you will be this, this is where you belong.
yeah.
But I can also see that okay, there is this part of you that will always be grounded here because there are these people who are your tribe and they will recognize you as tribe
Yes.
wherever.
Yes.
Which is a big part of what we're trying to build with North Texas Troublemakers.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
this is where
Almost where they have to take you in.
yeah.
Well, and it's not just that. It's like something I really like about this gang is that, I mean, things are not wonderful for me. But I also know that all these people here have my back.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I didn't have any sense of that in Eugene. No sense of that where I was before. And I came home knowing that summers always suck with eBay and everything. But I came home knowing it's like, you know what, it's going to be okay because I have family here.
Mm-hmm.
They're,
You know.
they're not going to let you starve.
No, I won't starve here. God, no. It's not possible to starve here. So,
Well, and I came home with the intent of I'm going to cook for myself more because I got into a rhythm and found stuff that worked for me that I could work and then cook and then work and then cook and feed myself.
yeah.
And then I came in, I stumbled into dinner and you all just handed me food and sent me
Oh,
home.
God, it was hilarious.
And I'm looking like I've got meat thawing, but I'm like planning out when I have to cook it. I'm like, if we don't eat leftovers, like I can't cook until Thursday.
Yeah.
I also came home with kennel cough. So
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it was just it was also fun too because the three of us are doing Racketeer Press at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so proud of us because we were on literally opposite sides of the planet.
Oh my god.
Opposite sides of the planet. And it's a good thing you stay up late.
Yeah.
Right? Because and Cedar gets up early because I would talk to you and then talk to her. You know,
well, and then I would wake up and there's 4 hours of conversation I have to catch up with, and I'm like, oh crap.
No, it was actually pretty funny, but we still managed to get our stuff published and deal with all the stuff from like opposite sides of the planet. So we're like, go us.
Yeah,
go
we
us.
We got some amazing stuff accomplished while we were on the road.
Well,
Which
you were off in Washington.
I was off in Washington. And
Watching
that was
the deer play.
oh my god. I was house sitting in farm country. Not a farm. He finishes cattle. But there are farms on either side of me. And I got to go take walks with the cows. Because I'd walk and they'd like come to the fence and just like hang out with me, and it was kind of
They want to see what you're doing.
yeah.
Did you pick out the one we're buying?
No, it's not there yet.
Oh, okay.
Different farm. But yeah, so I wasn't about to. I was told keep people from like coming into the house, and if there's anything that goes wrong, like power goes out, check all the appliances and make sure that it still works.
Freezers.
Because there's a lot of freezers.
Full of meat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Very, very good, delicious meat.
Yeah.
It's so much cow.
He roasted cow.
So I guess this is your box of meat you can eat from this week. And I'm like,
Okay.
There's something like 20 pounds of ground beef in it. Like, things to do with ground beef.
My mom has a really good mini meatloaf recipe.
I saw that. I'll have to grab that because that looked really good.
Johan likes to cook in the air fryer, so I was like, Mom, you need to give Johan your recipe.
Okay.
So,
yeah, and those would be really good in the air fryer.
well, that's what Mom does.
Yeah,
she cooks in the air fryer.
You have a milestone too.
I do have a milestone. You were talking about the closing of and going full circle. So yesterday, May 23rd, Johan officially graduated from high school.
Yay!
It was really understated. It was so funny because we've been trying to get him to sit down, and what I'm doing for him, have been doing for him, is we're keeping on track year by year by him taking an achievement test.
Mm-hmm.
And the achievement test scores out a bunch of different areas and tells me what grade level that he's on. So if there's a weak spot, we could work on that. Well, this year, because it's officially it was his senior year and he's halfway through his college, that he's going to be getting he corrected me. It's an AAS, not just an AS. Associate. It's Associate of Applied Sciences.
Yes.
In welding, and that'll become in December. But for the high school, for this achievement test, I'm like, all right, buddy, I need you to pick a day when you can sit down and do the test. And he sat down and he did it yesterday because he had wart removal stuff done, so he didn't want to do physical work. And came out and he'd gotten his results, and he's actually sitting there at my computer refreshing my email because the results were going to come to me, not him. So he's sitting there for like 15 minutes refreshing the email until he got his results. And his grade level overall composite is 13.6, which means he's like well into sophomore level college.
Excellent.
So yeah,
Excellent.
his math scores were better than I thought they were going to be. So I'm like, the only thing that he could have been better on was spelling, and I'm like, we're going to let that slide. But yeah, this is now all 4 kids are. I've gotten all 4 children through toddlerhood, through school, and this is the last one. He's not graduated. He will be 18 in July. He's got half a college degree. He already has his basic welding certs. He could, on his 18th birthday, he could walk out the door, land a $20 an hour job, and support himself. He's not going to. That's not the plan, but he could.
Yes.
So I feel like I'm at the end of an era. I'm at the end
You have a bookend moment.
I do have a bookend moment. I'm
You
at
do.
the end of active motherhood.
Yes, you are.
I'm about to transition into passive motherhood because you never stop being a mom.
No matter how much you
Yeah.
want to be. No matter how much you want to stop.
Just the momming
It doesn't
changes.
Yeah, the mom, the quality of mom
Yeah,
changes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you two have already been there.
Yes.
So
I will tell you, though, that they can throw surprises at you right after they get done with high school. I really hope that Johan does not throw any of the kind I got.
No.
So-
Well, and that's the funny thing, too, is he was so nonchalant about the whole thing. And then all of a sudden it hit him. He's like, years ago, they told me that I would graduate on May 23rd, 2023. And I did.
I love it. I love that he did that.
Awesome.
So, and we're going to be taking him out into some place where he can get sushi and probably a Chinese buffet because that's what he wants.
Excellent.
And we will pack him as full of food as he can fit, and that'll be his big celebration.
I love it.
Excellent.
And I've ordered a diploma, so he'll have a pretty piece of paper.
Yes. There you go.
So
I found mine going to my mom's attic.
I have no idea what mine is.
Mine's in the drawer, in the file cabinet, because I just do that. But yeah, I mean, because you still have one more to go.
I have one more to go, and she's, yeah.
But you're more in the passive motherhood already with her because
Yeah.
of how the situation fell
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Because these things happen.
Yeah.
and I'm in the grandmother phase.
Mm-hmm. I get to be the aunt.
Yes.
that I always wanted to be. So
Crazy.
the crazy aunt.
Yeah,
Which
right?
is great.
I'm in the weird grandmother, but not grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my daughter got pregnant and did an open adoption, which a lot of you probably don't know that. But and I did not know I was become a grandmother until she called me and said, "Mom, could you take me to the hospital?" It's like, why? Because I'm in labor.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, that was fascinating. We were still recovering from her 2 years of crazy.
Right.
And but you know, that 2 years she learned so much about herself. It was so powerful.
And anyone in the chat that's wondering, she does listen to these. So
Mhm, she does.
she knows.
She knows. My daughter and I are very frank. She'll be here for one of our broadcasts.
Ooh,
I'm
we
so
have
excited.
to have her on.
My daughter's going to come visit, so you guys will get to meet her. So
It's, hi, Katie.
it's going to be so interesting having everyone here meet her, especially poor Johan. Anyway, but she did an open adoption. So with truly wonderful, stellar people, she could not have picked a better couple. And so now my granddaughter has two moms, but not in the way most people think. And the funny thing about it is she's got like two moms, and both had their experience of divorce. So there's like four sets of grandparents, and there's me and Tim, and then they've adopted Parker, who's we consider ours too, which is a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
So when Ava went to school and she had to draw a picture of her family, the teacher was like, "What is and Ava's like, she doesn't understand why people don't have two moms.
Right.
Because that's perfectly normal for her. And so Heather had to go and say, no, really, there's Mama Cat, and then there's Mama Heather, and then there's Mama Jonna, and there's like this huge circle of people around the granddaughter. So
talking about having built-in community.
yeah, instant community for these kids. They are well and truly loved.
And knowing from deep inside that she is loved
completely.
constantly.
Yeah, completely, which is really kind of cool. So So anyway, it's like you have more transitions coming.
Oh, I know I do.
Yeah, but the grandmother one is a really weird one.
Yeah, I'm not ready. We'll bump that down the road. Nobody's ready.
No,
not me, not my kids.
I wasn't ready for it.
So
yeah.
I've told Logan 5 or 6 years. And then we'll have start.
Yeah.
Then I'll start nagging. Before that, no. Like, okay, so he finally got a girl to go on a second date. No, sorry, he didn't finally get a girl to go on a second date.
He chose to.
He chose to go on a second date.
How would this be a problem for that kid? But
no,
okay, now that I understand that he chose to.
Yeah, this is
him being picky makes sense.
Oh, he is very, very picky.
He should be.
He has very distinct ideas of what he wants in a spouse, and
thank God for that.
Well, so so I wear the hair stabbies most of the time, and so a girl he's serious about, one of his first gifts to her is going to be that and a knife, because one, he's trusting her not to stab him, and two, she would be someone who would appreciate it and not freak out.
Yeah.
So part of the mate selection is finding someone who would appreciate it and not freak out.
Yeah.
He sends me the memes about when people think I want a biblical wife, they think I want someone who's like meek and meek and retiring. Like, no, I want someone who'll drive a spike through a tyrant's head because it's the right thing to do. Like, that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And so he's and that's what he's looking for. And he finds them in the oddest places.
Well, they do hide in strange places.
But like this last one was his waitress at dinner a few weeks ago. Every time he goes to dinner, he goes home with the waitress's phone number. He doesn't ask for it every time.
People know quality when they see it.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
But yeah, he's got very distinct things that he wants, and I'm not about to talk him out of any of it. Like, it's don't wait too long.
No, but I think it's he's being smart.
Yeah,
he really is. You shouldn't really grow into and know who you are until you're like 25.
Yeah,
so, and he's being smart and not just being led around by other heads. So,
right.
Rick T points out, time was mother at 20, grandmother at 40, and great grand at 60. And that, I was mother at 22. I was 22 when my first was born.
I was 31.
Yeah. So, but the talking about not knowing who you really are until you're 25. I, at this point, am going to have to rediscover me because I've been mom for 25 years now. You can count the first pregnancy and stuff either. So mom says she wasn't ready to be a grandmother either. So mom, I was 22. Not like I was super
you're
ahead of my
right.
It's like, now I have to rediscover myself because I'm like, that's probably going to be my Substack essay after I get home from this. Is talking about this journey of rediscovery that I'm about to start on.
And you are.
Yeah.
If you discover the strangest things, like I don't have to pick up everybody's socks anymore. Oh my God, the kitchen stayed clean.
I still have to pick up socks because I have a kitten.
True.
And the kitten thinks that the socks are fun to play with.
No, but it's an interesting thing to suddenly not have them there.
I'm not quite there yet. He's still very much there. As I walked in this afternoon, going, So
yeah,
it's very odd to suddenly not have that space. So
I was a mom at 21, and my mom was a mom at my mom turned 23 4 hours before I was born. So. And so
mom was 19 when she had me. So
my mom was 42 when she became a grandmother, and she was not okay with it. But it wasn't her choice, not her decision, not her life.
Right.
And what was funny is that she ate I guess we have really great genetics. I'll just throw that out. She looked in her mid-30s, so she was when she would do Nana Day with my son. People thought he was her kid,
Yeah.
because no one thought she was old enough to have a daughter, old enough to have.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
Something I found very interesting when I became a mom is how society changed their view of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I lost my name. I lost. I almost lost parts of my body, and people almost lost parts of theirs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you become property of the tribe because you know, and how you are viewed as a woman changes significantly when you're a mom. Of course, you're on this, right?
And it changes again when you move past motherhood.
Yeah.
Into, and this is going to be a topic on an upcoming broadcast.
Yeah,
we're not
we
going
need
to
to
even
talk
delve
about
into it today.
But
the old trio of the maiden, the matron, and the crone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very happily preparing to move into cronedom.
Oh, it has some interesting,
Complete with edge witchiness.
Crone is a very interesting place to live. I'll tell you.
Well, and that's exactly it. And I want to talk. I want to actually spend the whole hour with us talking. Because
I don't count for maiden, but I am in the traditional sense of I don't owe anybody.
Yeah.
And I am a woman living on her own who has. I have connections,
matron,
but I'm not. I said that role was stolen from me, quite frankly. But I was never allowed to be.
Yeah.
Who would be the matron?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a. I would be a spinster if I did that.
You live in between.
I live in a very weird. Like I live, and I said I live on the twilight areas.
Yeah.
Tom, you should absolutely be hearing the whole toil of trouble.
You should. There's a reason. There's reasons for some of the iconography that we've picked for some of our stuff.
Well, I will tell you that.
And yes, and Nanny Og. Nanny Og has always been my favorite character, and she's always been I've always felt like Nanny Og was my spirit animal.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people tell me I should cosplay Nanny Og, and which I find fascinating. It's like.
You have her
I'm
spirit.
funny. I actually Granny Weatherwax for me. So.
Well, and I get that one too. I get both of those, which I find fascinating. How hard people try to push you into certain frameworks.
So we're
as
humans.
a woman,
We're humans. We look for patterns, right?
Yes.
And we try to. Our brains will find patterns where there is no pattern. You give someone noise, like staticky noise, and they will find patterns in it. So we do this thing where we stereotype and trope and cliche almost automatically because that way we have a framework. And we have our framework and we make things fit into that framework even if they don't necessarily fit into that framework.
It's how our epistemology works. I mean, it's just the way our brains function, But it's fascinating how men deal with an older woman with hair like this who is overtly sexual. They just don't know what to do with it. They're horribly confused by it and intrigued and terrified all at the same time, which I have to tell you is all kinds of fun. And you can get it. You can do all kinds of things you never could do before. We'll talk about that more. But it's also it's remarkable how hard some people will work to limit you.
Like this is you. This is your box. You will live there. Like no, I don't live there.
Yeah, no.
Well, okay. The whole thing. I'm going to name that metaphor. Really badly.
We have a whole book on that on the table.
I'm thinking about Cinderella's ship.
Oh, yeah.
So the people that were cutting off parts of themselves to try and fit into what they wanted to fit into.
Yeah.
But they had to chop off bits to, and it's a bloody mess.
You have to split your tail in two so you can be the pretty princess.
Right. And
instead of the beautiful mermaid.
And that's the thing is that we get to dwell on fringes, and because I've never fit in because of how I was raised, and just probably me, but we found our community on the fringes too. And, Dorothy Grant and I were talking at dinner the other night about a certain statistic in our group, and we were actually sitting there doing statistics, doing the math. Which was hilarious because both of us were exhausted, and we're trying to figure out.
Purpose?
We were doing math on purpose because we were trying to figure something out. We were talking, and we were trying to wait. What is that percentage of? It was hilarious. But our group, our core group of the North Texas Troublemakers has some really odd statistical anomalies in it.
Oh,
And it's because we are odds.
Mm-hmm.
We are all fringe, and we found our coalesced into these, our oddnesses are the same flavor.
well, a friend of mine said,
Complementary flavors.
Yes.
well, a friend of mine said that very much what he said, his metaphor, because he was a storyteller, was God goes along and pulls off bits of fabric and stretches it out, uses his baking shoes and cuts a piece off, and that puts up a person. And he said, at some point, all of our pinking lines match up.
Mm.
That essentially all of our pinking lines match up into a really nice quilt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, which is a very strange, bizarre quilt for people here, I have
And
to
it's
say.
and there's something like you wouldn't put them together because
No,
they don't match. Their sides don't match, but the right person
in the other
in
side
the other side,
works.
and the three work.
Yeah.
And it's because there's some flavors you wouldn't do just those two together, but like
no.
add 3 or 4, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
There's
right?
it's interesting synergistic patterns that run through our group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like put that person and that person and that person together, you get this.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And you put that and that together, and we may not like what comes out of that, but it's going to be hilarious. So,
Courtney, you go talk to him. Oh hell no!
oh no,
No, you do not let me
only
do that.
if I get to take so and so with me. Okay, go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that this very interesting little community that we are part of, and the fact that the 3 of us
I know.
do this and work so well.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes kind of like, I don't know where it came from, but I'm enjoying it.
How the hell did we get here? We get there a lot. So.
I remember like there was I kind of knew you through stuff like online, but like we never like really crossed much.
We haven't spent that much time together.
And then everybody came home from LibertyCon and go, "You have to meet Jonna." And I'm like, "Who's Jonna?" And then I meet, and oh yes, I had to meet Jonna.
It was like, oh, her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like oh, I've known her forever. We just met, but like
Yeah.
like it's just a.
It's very interesting to me. It's and it all ties back into identity and sense of place. And we've created our own sense of place here.
Well, this is weird for me.
Okay.
Because this is the first time in my life I've ever felt like I was part of something. I've always been on the outskirts. Always.
Yeah, me too.
Always on the very edges, the outskirts, and have actually been shunned in my life, which is very painful, and I do not recommend. And it makes me sensitive now, because I realize logically that just because I feel like I'm on the outside of something doesn't mean I actually need to be on the inside of it, but I still have the tender poke out of oh yeah, okay, I'm not allowed to know that, be there, do that, whatever. And so I have to deal with the fact that I have this traumatic reaction. And so for me, it has just been this kind of weird, wonderful, it's very nice, but I'm also sometimes just like, okay, I'm not sure how to, Dorothy also calls me the unsocialized geek. So, yeah.
Yeah. A friend of mine once referred to me as an electric eel in a bowl of goldfish. And I was like, that's not a compliment.
No,
and he meant it as one. And I was like, that means I can't touch anybody because I'll kill them.
Right.
I'll never find a partner. I can't date here. And I'm stuck with a bunch of people who are terrified of me.
I always, you're one of those walking eels.
Yeah. It's like,
so you've got
I just rolled up out of the bowl and left.
I always loved Rogue from X-Men.
Oh,
that's why I felt who I was.
Yeah.
Like I was in the group, but not really could not be of the group.
Yeah.
Because I could not interact with anybody that was there. Which is
Yeah.
why I love Gambit, because like of all the people, their powers were the most complementary.
Yeah.
And so when I did the X-Men role playing game ages ago, I was their daughter. So that's the character I played. Because that was my thing. But I was there, and people wanted what I had, but I could not connect in any kind of meaningful fashion.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like I was out in the wilds of Washington, and sitting by the river and taking pictures of my toes, and that was really fun. But then I'm like, it would kind of like I realized I had a rhythm to my days here, and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not like, because Tuesdays I tuned into the broadcast, but not for the live stream, but I wasn't here.
Yeah.
And like there's so much. I realized that there's so much conversation that we have here that we don't ever have online.
No,
because it's
Well, and that's the other thing that goes along with this is that I've been part of this online community from Baines Bar that has gone through evolutions onto Facebook and now into Discord. It seems to be where we're settling a lot of this sort of thing, but it's not the same. I mean, it's wonderful. Don't get me wrong, and it kept me alive. I swear to God, that community kept me alive.
Last 2 years in Eugene,
right?
Yeah,
but it isn't the same as this sitting here. And yes, we're talking to you guys, and you're there, but we're talking more to each other, and we're more present here, which is part of this. And you're talking about the small groups, forming the small groups. That's why we need those.
I have to tell you, I mean, something that's I really sometimes feel we just need to have like one of those Nest Watch cams here in the Blanket Fort.
No,
no, because I mean, just the day, the routine of the day that goes on here.
But then we couldn't type Courtney. I mean,
it's just I go to the back. Like
true. We trained it so it was all looking that way.
No, it's hilarious to me. I mean, just what happens here and the drive-by conversations that occur, and I'm like, did that just happen? Okay, that did. And just the weird ass stuff that just random things that happen, and just the sparking off of each other. You know, Jim will come in and say something about his back hurting, and then Ian will show up. And then you'll show up, and then some little thing will happen, and I'm like, that needed to be on the stream. That was really silly.
Well, enough time I show up and I'm carrying something, like, do you need help with that? Like, I got it. And
it reminds me of your
cake things here.
There.
So
because this is the repository for everybody. Bring your stuff that belongs to everything else in the Narthex Troublemakers. So
I may or may not remember to bring it to dinner, but if I get it here, I have 5 chances to get it here as opposed to 1 chance on Saturday. So I'll get it here, and then and it's a smaller trip for you, a small trip for everybody else, and everybody comes here.
Yeah, pretty much.
In theory, I'm supposed to be coming here regularly and writing.
Yes, you are.
Reality is, I have a class right now that has been eating my time because it's Thursday nights and it's weekends, and it'll be over at the end of June, and then it'll go down to adult.
When you're having fun.
Oh, I'm having so much fun with this because, again, with the community.
Yeah.
I'm connecting with a group of geeks that geek in the same way that I geek, and that geekery for me is totally different than, I'm not going to come in here and geek at you guys about Texas natives and butterflies and caterpillars.
You're welcome to, but we will be very happy for you and know nothing but what you're talking about.
But the
fact
fact that I can be out on this hike on Saturday, and on the way back we went out at a certain point, then turned around and came back. And on the way back, we were doing more chatting because it was a guided hike, so the guiding wasn't happening on the way back. And I got a very solid lead for a potential job for me.
Ooh.
And complete with, I'll stand as reference for you.
Ooh,
that kind of networking, you can really only do in person. I mean, no, you can do it online too, but just the random geeking out it feeds your soul.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it really does matter. I mean, that just.
We're up against DeSantis and Musk on Twitter.
Well, good for them.
Good for them. We're having more positive conversation. We are funny, although Musk.
No, Musk is hilarious. Musk is absolutely hilarious, and I would say right now that particular thing that's going on right now. DeSantis talking on Twitter as opposed to any of the mainstream media is like Nixon and Kennedy being on TV for the first time.
Yeah, no, it is. It's speaking of epoch,
it is a watershed moment.
Yeah.
So you're having
beginnings.
You're having a bookend moment. I had one, and they're doing one too.
Yes.
It's a whole different change.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different change.
Very cool.
And I find it fascinating because Elon's creating the thing he always thought it could be,
Mhm.
which is a true town square.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating to me. I mean, just this change away from gatekeepers, not only in the industry that authors have been dealing with,
Mhm.
but gatekeepers have been losing their power in a huge way. And
Well, yeah, 'cause, I mean, I'm like Substack and Twitter.
and
I've become active on both as part of seeking a way off Facebook.
yeah, Rumble video is another one.
I'm
off of
hearing
YouTube.
that Rumble is
doing really
getting
well.
traction. We
Mhm.
should be putting these. I think
Yes,
we can
that's-
cross-platform them.
That's the next
Okay,
iteration.
next thing.
It's on the list.
Sorry, it just flew through my brain, so I had to say
Which
it.
is a lot. We'll be sitting around. I mean, we have an entire file folder over there that we went through in January of all the different things that we were going to do, and a whole bunch of things we were not. And we ended up doing all the things we were going to do, and a bunch of the things we were not.
Yes, yeah, we just had a 6-month review, basically.
Yeah.
Of
But this
We've
happens.
been busy.
We all sit around, and this happens. We're like, we should do blah,
yeah.
and somehow we create even more work for ourselves.
Yeah. As well, and so we need to come up with. I need to come up with a better system and something to, because how we do things, it works as long as I remember to do the last 2 or 3 steps, and I forget.
Checklist. I don't know how a checklist would work.
Yeah,
either, so.
I can do them sometimes, and then I'll get them internalized, and so I'll stop writing them down, and then I forget a step, and don't remember I forget. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah. It's great,
yeah.
No, that's me.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is why my day job has reviewers. The second person that comes along behind you and checks you.
You know what we are?
Because
We are disruptive influence.
yes,
We have dropped down into the middle of complacency. And we are a disruptive influence. We just showed up with, hi, you're going to do this now.
Yeah,
So I really feel like, Elon's following in our footsteps.
I agree.
He's a disruptive influence.
Mhm.
And it went, hi, we're going to do it this way now. I think things like that are incredibly important.
Rick T points out your ramp up is more like a launch ramp.
Yes, it is.
That's how we feel.
The
We're
thing
kind
is,
of in that free fall moment here right now.
we kind of designed it that way on purpose, and there's reasons for that because of
Well, one of them is that we have to be getting paid quickly in
Yes.
this
Mhm.
to make it worth our time.
Yeah,
Yes.
we really do.
Especially for these two, because I do have a day job. But the thing of it is, if Raconteur can't start paying for itself very quickly, it's not going to last, and we don't want that for
No,
it.
we want it to last.
So right now, what we're trying to do is figure out how to expand the fan base, and that's going to be the next big trick of figuring out how to do that.
Yeah.
I have thoughts about that too. So
We have-
I know between all
Right,
of us,
yeah, we
we'll
have all
figure it
this.
out.
And there are plans to do merchandise
With our
and stuff
powers
like that.
combined.
With all there's a reason one of my favorite pictures of us is superheroes.
Yes.
Like that is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
No, I think when you embrace the apologize later view of life, as opposed to asking permission,
Yeah.
you just apologize later.
I did that with, so I did I don't know if you've seen the covers that I did for Rodney Smith. It's for his space.
Oh, they came out so
Space
cool.
Scout.
They're so cool.
He asked me to do the cover for book 6.
Excellent.
And my initial response, because I hadn't looked up, and I've read one of his, but it was a different one. It was a later one. These are his really early ones. And he and I had a lovely chat about it because these were right at the beginning of indie. Right at the beginning. He was on the leading edge. And he was selling crazy numbers. It was fantastic. So it didn't really matter for covers because he was on the bleeding edge of people who were desperately looking for that old school pulp science fiction that he writes. And so he came to me and he asked me to do the cover for book 6. And I'm like, sure, I'll try to make it look like the other covers. And 5 minutes later, I emailed him and said, no, I'm not making it look like the other covers. In fact, you're getting 6 covers. So I just took the bit between my teeth and I went. And
we do that a lot. The three of us, we all just kind of go and do.
Yeah. Well, it was fun. And because I know Rodney and his wife Regan well enough. I've worked with them for a few years now to know that they wouldn't mind me doing this. But I just got the bit between my teeth and I went with it because I wanted his books to have the covers that they deserve. That's my thing with everybody's book that I do. I want them to have the covers that they deserve.
Well, one of the things I like to do and why I ended up so I get up later than everybody else does, and half the problem is that I answer emails from bed. So my alarm goes off at 8, and I'm working at 8:30, and I don't get up until noon because I'm doing it off on my phone.
Yeah, I would stay in bed till noon if I didn't have to be here.
Right. So guys, if I answer you before noon, odds are good that I'm in my pajamas still.
She's in her jammies.
And I'm in bed, and I might be drifting off back to sleep. So you know.
I was in bed with my editor this morning.
You can totally say that. I will back you up.
I was in bed with my editor this morning.
But one of the things is, we've got someone who's working on their debut novella.
Oh, it's fabulous.
They're getting ready to launch it.
Yeah.
And he's like, so I've got all of this stuff ready to go. I'm like, okay, do you have this, 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 and this? And he's like, and it's all the back end stuff. Like, what does your blurb look like? I say, I put it up on the cover. Like, that's great. Put it here so we can look at it.
Yeah.
Because my plan was I was going to take it, I was going to go put word cloud it, and then figure out what keywords he needed to have for his keywords and show him how to do that.
Of the keywords.
And
she needs a tiara for this.
And I said, do you have your keywords? Do you have your key? He's like, like, what are your categories? He's like, oh, I know about those. I can do this. And I'm like, no. And I gave it took a 5-minute quick rundown on Saturday from the airport. Like, I was.
Well, yeah, we were driving home.
Right.
I dragged my sorry self down to Dallas because we had a Pecan meeting. Pecan guys, you need to go register for Pecan. Guys, we're going to have so much fun. In September in Dallas. But we were driving home from there. You were trying to keep me awake because I was so loopy.
Oh, and I've been up for like 32 hours by the time I got in the car.
And I was sick and tired from having gotten home from Italy. I don't know that we should have been on the road.
Probably not. But I was answering Discord messages. And
she's giving me the blow by blow of what she was doing to this
guy. And poking like, hey, do you have this? Because he was ready to go. And I'm like, do you have this? Oh, do you have this? What's your elevator pitch? And then he gives me the blurb, but I'm like, no. You have 30 seconds between floors. You get 2 lines. What's your elevator pitch? Which makes him distill it down to the smallest amount that he possibly could. How would you sell this book to somebody? And then you guys workshopped his blurb in the group while I was unconscious.
And we workshopped his covers. So all of this is happening right now on the Discord channel called Book Club with Spikes. And if you're not in there, ask us for an invite and you can get in there.
We should put that on the North Texas Troublemakers page. Because we have so many of our authors there.
Yeah. But we've got a really great group in there that are helping each other out. There's the mutual support and the community happening in Book Club with Spikes. Book Club with Spikes is not a fan club. Yes, it's my channel, but it is not a fan club. I was very firm about that when I started. I wanted some place to discuss some of the books that I was reading. And hence Book Club. And with Spikes, because think club with Spikes. Some of the books I was reading.
We'll leave out the writing craft part.
Yeah. But it has evolved into this place where we have a channel on gardening and we have a channel on food because me. But we also now have a cover workshop channel where if you are trying to design a cover, you can throw it in there and you will get critique, not just from me, but other people as well. And I occasionally go in there and actually do live workshops where I'm going through blow by blow of this is what the art is saying, or this is what your font is saying. That's coming soon. We have a homeschooling channel in there, and it's a community. But this is what we need. And I created it because I was trying to move away from Facebook. I don't like being overly reliant on Facebook.
Okay, you must tell the story. Starting with your fabulous outfit at the SteamCon convention. So we dressed this lovely woman up in this. She looks so fabulous. This full black thing. And there's a picture of it on Facebook. We were all dressed up at the SteamCon convention.
Yes, there's a little goth in me.
A little bit of goth, right? But you looked ever so proper. I think you needed a writing craft. right? So we were teasing her that she had the perfect outfit, except for the lack of the riding crop.
Yes.
So bless this woman, she takes directions so well.
So I
She
got a riding
Bought
crop.
one. And then
I bought it on Amazon. It's super cheap. I would never actually use it for a riding crop, but it's fantastic for a prop. And so,
tell
okay.
people what you need to do.
So Sanford and I, for years, had this running joke of grossing the children out. We once bet each other that we could gross them out by doing a fist bump in front of them. And sure enough, we did it complete with meaningful long looks into each other's eyes, did a fist bump, and we got a chorus of ew. So, because of all of this, I took the riding crop, and we have a 4-poster bed. So I hung the riding crop on one of the posts. Because we were going to tease Johan about the fact that we're an old married couple, we're not dead.
Honey, I'm old, not dead. Yes.
So I hung this up there weeks ago. And I had forgotten it was there. So I'm sitting at my desk, and he had gone into my room because he was throwing laundry on my bed, because that's what I tell him to do with clean, dry laundry. Just toss it on my bed. I'll deal with it. See, he comes out, and he's like, we have guests in this house, and I know your room's not a public space, but people still see in there, and you leave the window doors open, and you really need to not leave that kind of stuff lying around. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about?
She's like, what? What are you doing?
So then I get up and I go to walk in, and he points at it, and he's like, that. And I'm like, it's for a costume.
Well, and that's not going to relieve any of his stress.
No. None.
Then he knows that there's a costume, but he doesn't know what costume.
I love getting your kid and my kid in the same room.
Oh
yeah. No.
They're so fun.
They're just kind of adorable how prudish they are. They're just so cute.
So,
oh my god.
Yeah, I just because Johan cues off of Logan, and Logan just is a force of nature.
Yes.
As one is.
Yes.
And so like don't leave that stuff there. I'm thinking of a conversation that was relayed to me of, so tell me about your family. It's like, well, it's kind of screwed up. This was on a date. Tell me what's your family like. He's like, well, it's kind of screwed up. Like that's fair. He's like, my mom's kind of a cryptid, and I'm like, fair. Like, I'm legendary. I show up every now and then.
I really love to put Logan and Katie in the same spot.
I do want to see them in the same spot.
Yeah.
They would just...
It'd be really interesting to see where that went. Because my daughter is a chef, and she takes no shit from anybody. Mm-hmm. And
Logan is likely to give her.
No, but it's just, she's...
I had, when Logan made and stayed at my house overnight, in the morning I made them breakfast, because teenage boys... 3 teenage boys in my house. I made a big breakfast. Yeah, all the stuff.
They appreciated it too.
But we were standing there in the kitchen afterwards. I felt bad because they were supposed to come over here and help you with stuff, and we wound up talking for well over an hour. We had this wonderful debate on politics and religion, and it was just so refreshing because he's got a very bright mind, and Aiden too he was getting some words in edgewise, but he was having trouble because he's so quiet. But
he was talking.
Oh my God,
he was actually talking.
Mm-hmm. But no, it was just this wonderful. We had this vigorous debate going on, and there was a couple of points where I was just taking the opposite side just because
it's fun. Yeah.
And I was like, this is the kind of fun thing that is really difficult to do. You can do it online. I've certainly done some really fun stuff like that. But it's so much more fun in person. You get the body language and It's just
Yeah, the quick repartee is much easier.
my mother wants to see me a picture of me in the costume with the riding crop.
It's on Facebook. So
Not with the riding crop because I wasn't there yet.
well,
but
no,
That's true. That's true.
So
We'll have it at Liberty Con.
yeah,
yes, that's part of it. That and I just
that's
bought
fine.
a,
To like wear something.
You have to dress for Liberty Con. They
I'll
want you and
have-
you.
I will have the goth costume at Liberty Con, and I will have the costume that I'm creating that is the Hobbit naturalist with the kukri that's going to be hanging down to my knee, small sword style.
Okay.
Oh, with that, I have to get a machete. I actually have to get a machete.
No, you
because-
do. Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah.
And the reason I went with the kukri is because I was talking to the guys, and they're like, "Well, it's more front weighted like an axe," and I'm like, "Yep, that." Because I used to do throwing tomahawk, and I've
Yeah.
used an axe since I could swing one. So
I have to see my giant shears.
Mhm.
yes, you do.
And shears.
Mm-hmm.
They're very
Yeah.
shiny.
We need
Yeah.
to make a scabbard in a way for you to carry those.
No, it's just yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was talking with, talking with a friend about just the tentacles that certain factions can get into.
Oh, I thought we were still on
Right, no, no, no.
costumes, and I'm trying to
I-
imagine
this
you
is
in
why-
tentacles.
Well,
It's like okay,
so actually, it is
whoop,
related. Like it's like there's a backstory to this.
No, I'm sure there is.
About-
Sorry,
I was-
didn't drill you.
Because I need to get a machete and then build the costume around it
Mhm.
because I was so proud of myself. And the tentacles that certain factions can get into fandom, and the first guy's really nice and you're really excited. He's helpful and you want him there, and then his buddies come along and they're like not quite so nice. And,
Yeah.
But by the time you realize you have a problem, like you have a problem.
It was their advanced tentacle.
And we're
Right.
we're too nice because we
Mhm.
will have people.
You are too nice. I don't do nice anymore. So,
Actually, fandom as a whole,
okay,
Yes. Okay.
and I should say we were too nice.
we were too nice.
Yes.
because I know I've met people, and this is actually a conversation Jonna and I've had about one specific person because I went to her and I'm like, my gut says, and she's like, you're right.
Oh,
Because we're so nice. We're like, well, there's nothing we can really put a finger on. So yeah, we'll let them come in and do their thing because there's nothing wrong there. It just doesn't feel right. And then they're cool.
Mhm.
I have to tell you that I have learned over the years, it's the crone thing, never ignore that feeling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because one person coming in with the wrong energy can
Mhm.
destroy a community,
Yeah.
utterly destroy a community. And some
Mhm.
people I'm very pointed with about, no.
Yeah.
And they're like, why? It's because I'm not interested in putting up with all of your shit
Mhm.
in here.
Yeah.
You can
I
go over there.
I have to read a word because I'm not sure what that word. Oh, thank God.
Oh.
Ben, I have to say I was not reading Hobbits Need a Little Exotic.
Yeah.
I see exactly what I saw that. I
They're a
double
long
take
way
too.
from the screen. I am not. So I was like, oh,
So-
and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
So I'm like, my glasses might need adjusting.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was super proud of was like some of what we don't break enterprise and some of what we don't go into Troublemakers is we've cut a lot of that off.
Yeah.
And so it was like,
Yes.
they've got tentacles everywhere. I'm like, yeah, well, I've got a machete.
Well, I'm totally happy to be the person everybody hates.
And I know how to cook calamari.
And one of the
Oh,
things
look, hors d'oeuvres.
one of the things I thought of was in Mercedes Lackey's Valdemar series. She has the four-faced goddess.
Yeah.
Not three aspects. She has four. The fourth is the warrior
Yeah.
who lives between all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it's kind of we all have aspects of her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shears that a trophy uses to cut the thread, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
I don't have any interest in. I'm also, because I'm the person doing most of the approvals of who gets into North Texas Troublemakers.
Mhm.
If I see a whole bunch of a particular kind of group on their list, I'm like, no,
No.
Probably not a good fit.
not a good
Yeah.
fit, because it's a very delicate balance to find a group of people that can be happy and cheerful
Mhm.
and forward moving and supportive of each other and not have to be the center of attention all the time. And you have to
Yeah.
work to keep that balance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of stuff going on to keep that balance in North Texas Troublemakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I absolutely insist it will be that way.
Mhm.
Right.
And if you don't set a standard, nobody sticks to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know.
There we had a party where we had someone who came in who was not supposed to be
Oh
there.
no.
He made
very
it
much not.
2 steps in the door and got kicked
Out.
out by me before anybody else realized he was there. It was
Yeah.
the rudest anybody had ever seen me.
You're
And
being rude. You're being direct.
it was like you could see like the heads.
What happened?
What pissed
Yeah.
Courtney off?
There's a
Like-
certain tone.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's not that you being rude,
Mhm.
but there's that tone of, I mean business.
Mhm.
And I think when any of us switch that,
It is a very distinct
Mhm.
switch
Yeah.
to do
They
that.
call it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this, but I'm not going to explain it because we're almost done here. You'll have to wait for the next one.
Mhm.
But for me, it was
Teaser.
called. People used to refer to it. Me getting very direct with somebody about how much they were not going to be a problem anymore. Was called getting your own personal Fifi moment because Fifi used to be my nickname.
Mhm.
But I'll explain that later. And we've been
Yes.
doing this for an hour,
We have.
so
We're having fun, and that's
yeah.
yeah.
Yes. So we should stop there.
Yeah.
That's a good place to
And it's a
stop.
good place
It
to
is a good
start.
place to stop.
Wonderful.
So, yeah. So we're all back.
This
We're
has
in
been
the
so
same neighborhood.
good.
We're back. We're here.
We're doing it again.
We're doing it again. So we
We
have a
have-
special thing coming up.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very special.
Very
thing
special
coming
thing
up.
coming up. We're going to be cross-pollinating with
Yes.
one of our besties.
One of our favorite people.
Casey
I love
Gazelle
her.
and the 3 moms are going to get together for a conversation.
Mhm.
And we'll be doing a 2-hour conversation and splitting it into 2 parts. And 1 hour will be on hers and 1 hour will be on ours. And that'll be coming out just before they'll be coming. So I don't know what we're doing in between then and now, but we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it
I'm
out.
traveling again. We have another book coming out this weekend. That's
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
Postcards from Fools.
Postcards
Postcards
from
from
Fools
Fools.
comes out on Friday. So, and yeah, I think that's it.
And I think we're done.
I think that's it.
All right.
We're done.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Bye.
Let's see if I can figure this out.
Yes, you can.
There's a button.